59 words to improve your vocabulary.
Pragmatic. She took a pragmatic approach to solving the problem. Dealing with things sensibly in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. Alloy. Brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. A metal made by combining two or more metallic elements, especially to give greater resistance to corrosion. Comport. His actions did not comport with the company's code of conduct. Conduct oneself. Behave. Empirical. The scientist gathered empirical evidence to support her hypothesis. Based on, concerned with, or verifiable by observation or experience rather than theory or pure logic. Stymie. The complexity of the issue stymied efforts to find a solution. Prevent or hinder the progress of. Liaison. The liaison between the two companies facilitated smooth communication. Communication or cooperation that facilitates a close working relationship between people or organizations. Scathing. The critic's scathing review of the movie caused controversy. Witheringly scornful, severely critical. Allege. He alleged that he had been unfairly dismissed from his job. Claim or assert that someone has done something illegal or wrong, typically without proof. Spontaneous. The children's spontaneous laughter filled the room. Occurring as a result of a sudden inner impulse or inclination and without premeditation. Claimant. The insurance company denied the claimant's request for compensation. A person making a claim, especially in a lawsuit or for a government-sponsored benefit. Mislay. She mislaid her keys and spent hours searching for them. Temporarily lose something. Enormous. The elephant's ears were enormous, providing shade from the sun. Very large in size, quantity, or extent. Iciness. The iciness of her tone suggested she was upset. A freezing temperature or frostiness. Aloof. He stood aloof from the crowd, preferring solitude. Not friendly or forthcoming, cool and distant. Rend. The sound of her cries seemed to rend the very air. Tear something into two or more pieces. Manifold. The benefits of the new policy were manifold. Many and various. Radiate. Her smile radiated warmth and kindness. Emit energy, especially light or heat, in the form of rays or waves. Mechanics. Understanding the mechanics of the engine is crucial for its maintenance. The branch of physics concerned with the motion of bodies in a frame of reference. Cumbersome. The cumbersome backpack made hiking more difficult. Large or heavy and therefore difficult to carry or use. Precocious. The precocious child learned to read at the age of 3. Having developed certain abilities or inclinations at an earlier age than is usual or expected. Ogre. The character in the story was portrayed as a cruel ogre. A monster in fairy tales and popular legend, usually represented as a hideous giant. Lineage. She traced her lineage back to the royal family. Direct descent from an ancestor. Ancestry or pedigree. Ewe. The ewe tended to her lambs in the field. A female sheep. Demure. She gave him a demure smile before looking away. Reserved, modest, and shy. Imperceptible. There was only an imperceptible change in temperature. Impossible to perceive or notice. Devout. He was a devout follower of his faith. Having or showing deep religious feeling or commitment. Poetaster. His amateurish poetry marked him as a mere poetaster. An inferior poet, especially one whose work is trivial or undistinguished. Bilateral. The agreement was bilateral, benefiting both parties. Involving two parties, especially countries. Imaginary. The children played with imaginary friends in the garden. Existing only in the imagination, not real. Trite. His speech was filled with trite phrases and clichés. Overused and consequently of little import, lacking originality or freshness. Glutton. He was known as a glutton for sweets, often eating a whole cake himself. A person who is excessively fond of or always eager for something. Preside. The judge will preside over the trial. Be in the position of authority in a meeting or gathering. Explicate. The teacher took time to explicate the complex concept. Analyze and develop an idea or principle in detail. Fission. Nuclear fission is the process of splitting an atomic nucleus. The action of dividing or splitting something into two or more parts. Dare. He didn't dare to cross the rickety bridge. Have the courage to do something. Exorcism. The priest performed an exorcism to rid the house of evil spirits. The expulsion or attempted expulsion of a supposed evil spirit from a person or place. Buttress. The new evidence served to buttress their argument. Provide a building or structure, with projecting supports built against its walls. Divagation. His speech was filled with divagation, lacking a clear focus. A digression or wandering from the main subject or topic. Deference. She showed deference to her elders by bowing respectfully. Humble submission and respect. Garish. The garish colors of the painting clashed with the room's decor. Obtrusively bright and showy, lurid or gaudy. Contemporaneous. The two events were contemporaneous, occurring at the same time. Existing or occurring in the same period of time. Underling. He was just an underling in the company, lacking any real authority. A person lower in status or rank, a subordinate. Percussion. The percussion section of the orchestra included drums and cymbals. The striking of one solid object with or against another with some degree of force. Systematic. She followed a systematic approach to solving the problem. Done or acting according to a fixed plan or system, methodical. Evasion. His evasion of the question raised suspicions about his involvement. The action of evading something. Counting house. The counting house was where all financial transactions were recorded. A house or office used for carrying out financial transactions. Trisect. The task was to trisect the line segment into 3 equal parts. Divide something into 3 parts, typically of equal proportions. Footnote. The book included a footnote explaining a historical reference. An explanatory or bibliographic note at the bottom of a page or column. Reprove. The teacher had to reprove the student for talking during class. Reprimand or censure someone. Upcast. He made an upcast of the financial situation, projecting future profits. A throw upward or a direction upward. Astral. The astronomer studied the astral bodies in the night sky, relating to or resembling the stars. Replete. The buffet was replete with delicious dishes. Filled or well supplied with something. Advisory. She sought advisory services before making a financial decision. Having the power to make recommendations, but not to take action enforceably. Prefix. The prefix "un" changes the meaning of the word to its opposite. A word, letter, or number placed before another. Occlude. The clouds occlude the sun, casting shadows on the ground. Stop, close up, or obstruct an opening, orifice, or passage. Premeditated. The premeditated murder shocked the community. Of an action, especially a crime, thought out or planned beforehand. Isle. They set sail for a remote isle in the Pacific Ocean. A small island. Conflagration. The firefighters battled the raging conflagration for hours. An extensive fire that destroys a great deal of land or property. Fluctuation. The fluctuation in prices made it difficult to predict market trends. An irregular rising and falling in number or amount, a variation.
Recommend this to a friend and watch again.